When we think of mansions, we think of sprawling estates, tasteful landscaping, and classical decor, but there are plenty of mansions that are much less, let's say, traditional in their design. In fact, some of them are downright strange. Today, we'll be taking a look at the 10 weirdest mansions out there today. 1. The Mushroom House. Located in Pittsford, New York, this incredibly unusual, sprawling, nature-themed mansion was designed in 1969 by architect James Johnson, working with a crew of 20 artists. They collaborated on one creative brief to make a unique home for ceramic artist Marguerite Antel, who wanted a home in harmony with nature. Today, Antel's ceramic work can be seen throughout the interior. While maybe not to everyone's taste, this almost 4,200 square foot mushroom-like palace is nothing if not creative and woodsy. The house, which was intended to look not like a mushroom but rather like the white flowering plant Queen Anne's lace, has been compared in its design and aesthetic to the works of Gaudi, the famous Spanish architect. But the best news is that, for just $10,000 a month, the Mushroom House is available to rent. So if you want to head up to the greater Rochester area to spend some time in this natural and, let's face it, they're totally weird mansion, and you have a cool 10 grand to burn, she could be, temporarily, yours. 2. The Flintstones House. Hey, remember the Flintstones? You know, Wilma! Those Flintstones. Well, did you love them enough to create a mansion based on their prehistoric cartoon world? No? Well, someone did. And the result was, in the words of the New York Times, distinctive. In fact, this mansion is so unusual and, striking that it was declared a public nuisance by a panel of code enforcement officials. Yes, in the town of Hillsborough, California, near San Francisco Bay, where the very weird home is situated, it has been declared illegally weird. Owned by former media mogul Florence Fang, the home was built using a technique called monolithic dome construction in 1976. Fang purchased the curious space in 2002, and it was then that she added the particularly Flintstone-esque flourishes like the metal dinosaur statues and Yabba Dabba Doo sign. While the neighbors consider it an eyesore, Ms. Fang and her family have argued that the unusual house and its accompanying decor make people smile and should be allowed to stay as is. The town, on the other hand, argued that Miss Fang hadn't gotten the proper paperwork to make changes of this sort. The Flintstonian sort, that is. The legal battle is, at last check, still being waged, so we'll just have to wait and see whether or not this weird mansion is really just too weird, in the eyes of the law. 3. The Mr. Toilet House. Here's a house that really makes you say, holy, well, you know. Constructed in Suwon, South Korea, this sprawling toilet mansion was built as a home for Sim Jae-duck. Known affectionately as Mr. Toilet, he was the founder of the World Toilet Association and former mayor of Suwon. Jae-duck was a pioneer in sanitation, advocating on both a local and global scale for cleaner and more beautiful public toilets. Rumor has it, this passion for clean restrooms may have started young. Sim was reportedly born in the toilet at his grandparents' house. In 2007, after founding the WTA, he had this massive toilet home, complete with golden poop statues and other latrine-themed art, built in celebration. Sim Jae-duck has since passed, but his unusual home flushes on. It was donated to the city of Suwon after his death. Today, it is a toilet museum and, it just so happens, Korea's largest sculpture of a toilet, a truly unusual mansion. 4. The Warehouse Mansion. If you saw this building from the outside, it would be only natural to think it was some sort of storage warehouse, but that's where you'd be wrong. This is, in fact, a 6,600 square foot cabin, the luxury playhouse of a McKinney, Texas man named Paul. Take a look at the inside. It's an incredible dream home, or at least the most incredible man cave ever built. Disguised from the outside as a warehouse, Paul's cabin has a built-in bar, a home movie system, and even its own elevator. The home was built by an American construction company called Morton Buildings that specializes in building not only commercial warehouses, but also luxury residential buildings from warehouse materials, with their own unique insulation package to make the warehouse homes feel less like, well, a warehouse. While this mansion may not be the prettiest from the outside, the unusual exterior certainly allows the place to blend in. This may not be the typical secret lair for a Bond villain, but a mansion disguised like this would probably be a much better way to hide in plain sight. 5. Katy Perry's Convent Mansion. Did you know that pop superstar Katy Perry sort of evicted a bunch of elderly nuns so she could live in a massive California compound? Well, now you know. If this sprawling set of buildings looks a lot like a massive convent, that's because this particularly weird Los Feliz home was one until not too long ago. Unfortunately, Harry's purchase of the mansion/nun house from the California Archdiocese sparked a long and drawn-out legal battle that got pretty ugly. Apparently, the nuns thought they had the right to sell the building, the Archdiocese thought they did, they both sold it, blah blah blah, a nun died in court. Ugly. At last check, Harry still hadn't moved in, as the sale of the enormous Christian compound was contingent on her finding a replacement for the convent's house of prayer, which she was unable to successfully do. In fairness to Katy, the sprawling estate wasn't always a convent. It was built for a radio station owner, Earl C. Anthony, who had a big hand in bringing the Dodgers from Brooklyn to Los Angeles. But today, there are definitely signs of nuns everywhere, making this another entry on our list of the world's weirdest mansions. By the way, since Perry's option to buy technically expired while she was looking for a replacement, you might just be able to swoop in on her and buy it instead if you're looking to spend $14.5 million on a nunnery. 6. The transparent house. They say those in glass houses shouldn't throw stones, so the owners of this odd Tokyo home probably won't be doing any stone tossing anytime soon. House NA, as it's known, was inspired by the feeling of a tree house. That feeling was then meant to be translated into an adventurous family home. But this unusual 3-story mansion has one pretty obvious drawback. Your options for privacy are, well, limited. The interior of the building has a clean, sleek, modern style, but it seems as though it might be tough to cool and heat. And the most pressing question is, where do you change? It seems like this weird mansion would be a perfect home for a family of wealthy nudists, if you know any. 7. The floating mansion. Meet Arkup 75. Known as a livable yacht, this floating mansion looks like exactly that. A waterborne mansion sailing into port. But to be self-sustaining and environmentally friendly, it's designed for your local wealthy recluse to go completely off the grid at a moment's notice. And with 4,350 square feet of living space, a houseboat never looked this good. 4 bedrooms, 4.5 bathrooms, 36 kilowatts of solar power, and 272 horsepower, it's weird, but it sounds pretty good. Who needs a zip code anyway? If Noah's looking for an ark, this would be a great choice, as long as he has over $5 million to spend. 8. The Bat Casa. Located in San Miguel de Allende, Mexico, this 3-story home is another Gaudi-esque property. But what makes this one particularly unusual is that the whole house is themed around Batman. It's a little smaller than most of the properties on this list, but it's certainly no less unusual, with beds and dining tables cradled in swirls of house and decor suggestive of everyone's favorite caped crusader. This curling, mostly white residential homage to the Dark Knight may not be the mansion you need right now, but it's the mansion you deserve. Oh, and you can rent it on VRBO for about $90 a night. When it comes to weird mansions, this is by far your most affordable option if you're on the market. 9. Coetios Spaceship Homes. In El Alto, Bolivia, architect Freddy Mamani Silvestri is making colorful, extravagant, and incredibly unusual mansions for the Aymara people native to Bolivia who have recently moved to the city of El Alto and collectively found increased economic success, thanks to reduced restrictions on their activities. Nicknamed Jillettes, these flamboyant, towering homes are compared to McMansions, colorful displays of new money that are hard to ignore. Often 5 stories tall, these wild mansions include lights and shapes reminiscent of Las Vegas or the circus. Called cohetios, meaning spaceships, these new age mansions are big, confident, colorful, and definitely weird. 10. Penn Jillette's Technicolor Jail. Speaking of Las Vegas, last but certainly not least, on this list of weird mansions is magician Penn Jillette's insane Las Vegas home. Nicknamed the Slammer for its resemblance to a Technicolor jail, it covers more than 9 acres of desert and includes, according to the LA Times, a 14-seat movie theater, a recording studio, 7 bedrooms and 8 bathrooms in more than 7,900 square feet of living space. It has a clock tower, cheetah print carpeting, and multicolored grass. Nothing about this home is normal. Jillette joked that he would blow it up at the end of a horror movie if he ever made one. That said, he sold the controversial compound after nearly 20 years there in 2016. The current owner isn't known, so we'll just have to satisfy ourselves knowing that Penn Jillette may have a mind sick enough to build this thing, but someone else was crazy enough to spend $1.88 million buying it too. There really is someone for everyone. And there you have it. Those are the 10 absolute weirdest mansions on this beautiful, crazy planet today. What do you think? Would you want to live in any of these large and unusual homes? Sound off in the comments to let us know which one you think looks the coolest. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel for more spine-chilling information like this.